What if the yogurt sitting in your fridge right now is not actually yogurt? Not in the way you think, not even close. Because what's being sold across British supermarkets under the word yogurt has quietly become one of the most misleading food products on the shelf, and the people doing it have counted on you never finding out. Before we pull back the curtain on every brand, do something right now. Hit like, subscribe, and share this video. Not because it helps a number on a screen, but because someone you know is probably buying this stuff every single week, thinking they're doing something good for their body. Your share might be the reason they stop, so do it now, then stay with me. Let's start with what real yogurt actually is, because this matters. Real yogurt is two things: milk and live bacteria cultures. That's it. You warm the milk, introduce the cultures, let them ferment, usually for many hours, and what you get is a naturally thick, tangy, living food. The bacteria are still alive. They're still active. And those live cultures are what make yogurt genuinely beneficial for your gut. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. Many of the yogurts sold in UK supermarkets aren't made like that anymore. They're built from parts: skimmed milk powder, added water, whipping cream, modified starch, thickeners pulled from industrial food science. The bacteria, if they were ever properly alive to begin with, have often been killed off by the time the product reaches the shelf. What you're holding in that pot is something that looks like yogurt, has the word yogurt on the label, and costs the same as real yogurt-y, but is fundamentally a different product. And the scariest part? The more premium the branding, the worse it can sometimes be. We'll get to that. There's also something more recent that has added a whole new layer of concern for UK dairy shoppers. In late 2024, Arla Foods, one of the biggest dairy cooperatives in Britain, supplying major supermarkets including Tesco, Morrisons and Aldi, began a trial of a feed supplement called Bovaer on around 30 UK farms. The stated goal was to reduce methane emissions from cattle. The supplement works by suppressing an enzyme in the cow's digestive process that produces methane during digestion. On the surface, it sounds like an environmental initiative. But consumers weren't consulted. There was no clear labeling telling shoppers that milk from those farms might end up in their yogurt. The story went viral. People were furious. The trial ran until November 2025, and while Arla has said they're reviewing results, they've also made it clear they haven't ruled out continuing. Danish farmers have raised concerns about what the supplement does to their herds. The UK Food Standards Agency has called it safe, but the transparency, or rather the lack of it, is what bothers people most. You had no way of knowing whether your yogurt came from cows on that trial or not. There is one clear way out of that uncertainty, and we'll come back to it. But for now, let's get into the brands. These are 11 yogurt products currently sold across UK supermarkets that you should seriously reconsider buying, and why. Starting with Tesco Natural Yogurt. This one genuinely shocked me when I looked closely at the ingredients. Because what Tesco is selling as natural yogurt isn't made from milk the way you'd expect. Look at the label, and you'll find something called a yogurt base. And inside that base, skimmed milk concentrate, water, whipping cream, dried skimmed milk, and then, almost as an afterthought, starter cultures. Think about what that means. They're taking milk, drying it into powder, then reconstituting it with water, then stirring in cream to give it back the richness the drying process removed, and then adding a touch of bacteria. This is not the way you make yogurt. This is the way you engineer something that can legally be called yogurt while costing significantly less to produce. Real yogurt starts with milk. Just milk. You don't dismantle it first. You don't dry it and reconstitute it and reassemble it like a flat-pack piece of furniture. The fact that they're doing all of this and then pasteurizing the product after fermentation, which kills whatever bacteria survived the process, means the live cultures you're expecting aren't there in any meaningful way. You're eating a carefully assembled dairy imitation. And Tesco is Britain's biggest supermarket chain, which means millions of people are buying this every week without any idea. Next, Müller Little Star's Boner Greek style. The texture will fool you. It's thick. A spoon holds its shape in it. It genuinely looks the part. But that thickness isn't coming from where it should. Proper Greek yogurt is thick because it's been strained. You start with a large volume of fermented milk and you remove the liquid whey by straining it through a cloth or fine mesh for hours. What remains is dense, concentrated, and naturally rich in protein, usually around 10 grams per 100 grams. This product doesn't do that. It's thick because of added cream. The fat content sits at over 12 grams per 100 grams, more than double what genuinely strained Greek yogurt contains. And the protein? Around 5 grams per 100. That tells you everything. If the milk had actually been concentrated through straining, the protein would be concentrated too. The fact that it's half what it should be reveals that no straining happened. They just poured cream in to mimic the texture and hoped nobody would check. You're being sold fat when you thought you were buying protein. And it's dressed up with a Greek-style label that carries all the health associations of real Greek yogurt. It's a neat trick, but it's still a trick. Then there's Sainsbury's low-fat natural yogurt from their Basics line. This product runs into the same problem that all low-fat yogurts face. When you remove fat, you also remove flavor and texture. Something has to replace those things. The cheap and fast answer is to add modified starch for texture and sweeteners, or extra milk powder to compensate for the flavor that's gone. Low-fat yogurt has also built up what food scientists sometimes call a health halo. Shoppers see the words and assume it's the healthier choice without stopping to read what replaced the fat. In many cases, what replaced it is processed ingredients that your body handles worse than the natural fat you removed in the first place. Sainsbury's Basics range is optimized for a price point, not a health outcome. The fermentation is almost certainly not the long, careful process that develops genuine nutritional value. It's fast, cheap, and industrial. Moving up the supermarket hierarchy doesn't protect you either. M&S 0% fat Greek style with honey positions itself as a premium treat. It's in those distinctive M&S containers. It carries a premium price. But read the label and you'll find 13 grams of sugar per 100 grams. Honey and brown sugar are both listed in the ingredients. Corn flour, yes, the same thing you use to thicken gravy, is used to give it that Greek-style body, so what you actually have is thin, watery, zero-fat yogurt that's been thickened artificially and sweetened heavily and then sold at a price that suggests quality. If you wanted to, you could buy their proper authentic Greek yogurt, which we'll get to later. Add a drizzle of real honey at home and have a genuinely better product for less money. The lesson M&S is teaching here, whether they intend to or not, is that a trusted name on a pot guarantees nothing if you don't look beneath the surface. Asda Just Essentials. Low-fat natural yogurt takes things in a more cynical direction. Just Essentials is Asda's most affordable tier, the range designed for people managing tight budgets, people who genuinely don't have the option to spend more. And that context matters, because what this product delivers is modified starch for texture, likely thickeners such as guar gum or locust bean gum, and a fermentation process that's been cut as short as legally permissible. Here's something worth understanding about yogurt bacteria. They are living organisms. They need to feed on the lactose in the milk to establish themselves and multiply. If the fermentation is cut short, or if thickeners have been added that interfere with the environment, the bacteria don't thrive. And once the product sits on a shelf for 2 or 3 weeks, even bacteria that were present on day 1 may have died off from starvation. What you're left with is a dairy product that was briefly in the presence of bacteria, not a living food with active cultures. Asda knows who buys this range. They know those customers have no affordable alternative. That makes it harder to excuse. Now we move into flavored territory, and this is where things get particularly messy. Onken's flavored 0% fat range, vanilla, strawberry, mango, cherry, takes a product that's already been stripped of fat and loads it with everything required to make it palatable. Artificial fruit flavorings, sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose, and thickeners to compensate for the runny texture that zero-fat yogurt naturally has. What's worth noting is that Onken actually makes decent natural yogurt. Their natural set product is genuinely good, so they know perfectly well how to produce real yogurt. The flavored range is a separate commercial decision, a calculation that the zero-fat positioning plus the fruit flavors will sell to shoppers still influenced by the low-fat thinking that shaped British food culture in the 1980s. That thinking that dietary fat causes health problems has been largely overturned by subsequent research, but food companies spent decades building products around it, and those products are still on the shelves, still selling, long after the science moved on. Waitrose Greek-style yogurt with honey deserves its own moment because the sugar level here is genuinely staggering. 17 grams of sugar per 100 grams. For context, a standard can of Coca-Cola contains around 10.5 grams per 100 milliliters. This yogurt has 60% more sugar than that. A full 450-gram pot contains over 75 grams of sugar. That is more than 2 cans of Coke worth of sweetness, in a product being sold by a supermarket with a reputation for health and quality, labeled as Greek style, with honey presented as a wholesome natural addition. Maize starch is in there to bulk it out and give it weight in the mouth. The word Greek carries enough of a health association that most shoppers don't question it. And Waitrose knows this. They sell genuinely authentic Greek yogurt in the same chilled aisle, we'll mention it later, so the knowledge of what real looks like exists inside their own buying team. They've just chosen to also stock this. The collective's flavored range, cherry and passion fruit, is a more subtle version of the same problem. The collective is very good at branding. The packaging has a handcrafted, independent feel. The language around their products talks about gourmet yogurt and artisanal methods, and their natural yogurt is perfectly decent. But the flavored versions follow the same formula as every other flavored yogurt. Real-sounding fruit descriptions on the front, sugar and thickeners, and concentrates on the back. The cherry version uses fruit compote, which is essentially fruit boiled down with significant amounts of added sugar. The passion fruit uses natural flavorings, a term that sounds reassuring but is largely unregulated and can describe a huge range of extracted compounds. You're paying a premium over a supermarket own-brand flavored yogurt, but you're mostly paying for the jar design and the story the brand tells about itself. Tim's Dairy's flavored Greek range, mango and blackcurrant, brings a similar tension. Tim's Dairy is a family business based in Cornwall. Buying from them feels like supporting something real, something local, something with integrity. And their natural products are fine. But the mango flavor in their Greek range carries around 15.5 grams of sugar per 100 grams. The blackcurrant is similar. Both use fruit puree, added sugar, and thickeners for the flavor layer. Being smaller and more local doesn't automatically mean the product is cleaner. What matters, always, is what's in it. And at those sugar levels, the Cornish origin story doesn't change what you're actually consuming. Sainsbury's lactose-free Greek style is the entry on this list that makes me most uncomfortable, because it is specifically targeting people with a genuine health condition. Lactose intolerance is real. It causes genuine discomfort and pain. People who have it deserve options. But this product uses the lactose-free label as a distraction from added sugar and artificial thickeners that create the Greek-style texture without any actual straining. Someone who needs lactose-free yogurt might reasonably assume that a product specifically formulated for their dietary need would be made with extra care. Instead, what Sainsbury's has done is take the same engineering approach as their other products and wrapped it in a label that sounds health-conscious. If you're lactose intolerant and want yogurt, look for a plain, clean, lactose-free natural yogurt and add whatever fruit or flavor you want at home. And finally, Tesco low-fat natural yogurt. We opened with Tesco natural yogurt and its assembled dairy-based problem, and this low-fat version carries all of those issues and then some. Removing fat from yogurt means you've taken away the main things that give it body and flavor. Replacing those things cheaply means reaching for milk powder, starch, stabilizers, and short fermentation windows. Tesco's track record in this category gives us a reasonable expectation of exactly how they've approached it. And the post-fermentation pasteurization that they likely use to extend shelf life means whatever bacteria went in during the brief fermentation period won't be alive when you open the pot. 2 Tesco products on this list, both sitting at the affordable end of the price spectrum, both sold at scale to millions of households. That's a meaningful amount of people being given something that misrepresents what it is. Now pause here for a second, because if you've made it this far, you're clearly someone who actually cares about what goes into your body. So here's a different kind of ask. Screenshot this video. Send it to someone in your family or your group chat who buys yogurt regularly. Write a comment below telling us which of these brands you've been buying without knowing. Every comment, every share, every person who watches this because you sent it, that's how this information actually spreads past the algorithm and into real conversations. Do that now, then keep watching. Because here's what you actually need to know. Finding good yogurt is not complicated once you understand one rule. Ignore the front of the pot entirely. Turn it over. Read the ingredients. Real yogurt should contain milk, cultures. That's it. Sometimes the specific bacterial strains will be named Lactobacillus bulgaricus, Streptococcus thermophilus, and that's a good sign. But the moment you see water listed separately from milk, modified starch, cream added independently, stabilizers, thickeners, pectin, gelatin, or any sugar that isn't inherent to the milk, put it back. There's one nuance worth understanding around the words Greek and Greek style. Since 2014, UK law means only yogurt actually made in Greece can carry the label Greek yogurt. Anything produced elsewhere, even if it's made using authentic straining methods, must say Greek style. So Greek style doesn't automatically mean fake. A genuinely strained yogurt made in Somerset has to call itself Greek style by law. The way you distinguish real from fake is check the ingredients for thickeners or added cream used to manufacture thickness and check the protein content. Genuinely strained Greek-style yogurt will have around 10 grams of protein per 100 grams because the milk has been concentrated. Fake thick yogurt, where the texture comes from additives rather than straining, will typically show around 4 grams. That number tells you the truth faster than any label claim on the front. So what should you actually buy? The answer might surprise you in a few places. Start with making it yourself, which is far simpler than it sounds. Warm your milk to about 43 degrees, stir in a couple of tablespoons of good live yogurt as your starter. Phage works well for this. Wrap it up warm and leave it for 12 to 24 hours. The longer you leave it, the more complex and tangy the flavor becomes. Commercial yogurt is typically fermented for 1 to 2 hours because that's all the production schedule allows. Homemade yogurt fermented for a full day is a genuinely different food. If you want to buy rather than make, Phage Total is the benchmark. Made in Greece since 1926 using traditional straining methods. The 5% fat version has 10 grams of protein per 100 grams. That protein level is your proof that it was genuinely strained and concentrated. It's widely available across UK supermarkets, and yes, it costs more than a supermarket own brand, but it is actual food. Longley Farm, based in Yorkshire, and Lancashire Farm, based in Sainsbury, as the name suggests, Lancashire, are both small British dairies making yogurt the straightforward way. Local milk, live cultures, proper fermentation, nothing added. These are the kinds of producers that are being slowly squeezed out by industrial-scale competitors who make cheaper versions and sell them at the same price. Buying from them is a vote for the kind of food production that doesn't need to mislead you. M&S Collection 5% authentic Greek yogurt is made in Greece with proper straining. It sits on the same shelf as their sugar-laden Greek style with honey, which tells you that M&S is entirely capable of sourcing real yogurt and simply chooses to also sell the other kind. This one is the real thing. Aldi Brooklia Authentic Greek Yogurt is arguably the most underrated option in any UK supermarket. Made in Greece, 10 grams of protein per 100 grams, and typically the lowest price of any genuine Greek yogurt on the high street. Aldi's approach here, import the real product and sell it cheaply rather than engineering a domestic imitation, is exactly what more supermarkets should be doing. Iceland's Greek-style natural yogurt at £1 is worth knowing about too. The ingredients list reads, yogurt made from milk and bio-live cultures including Streptococcus thermophilus and Lactobacillus bulgaricus. Nothing else, for £1. It's not made in Greece, So Greek style is the correct label, but the ingredients are clean. It's the cheapest honest yogurt in the UK right now. Waitrose does sell genuine yogurt alongside the problematic one we discussed earlier. Their #1 authentic Greek yogurt is made in Greece, properly strained, with milk, cream added back in a traditional way, and live cultures. Their estate dairy Greek style is made on a single estate in Cheshire using whole milk, live cultures, and nothing else. No homogenization, no thickeners, small batches. That's what premium should actually mean. Onken Natural Set Yogurt, again, not their flavored range, is whole milk with live cultures set in the pot rather than in a vat and contains no additives. Sainsbury's own Greek-style natural yogurt, separate from their lactose-free and basics lines, uses clean ingredients with named bacterial strains. It's made in Britain, so it can't say Greek, but it's genuinely strained. And Yeo Valley Organic Greek Recipe 0% strained natural is worth special attention for one specific reason. Yeo Valley is certified organic by the Soil Association, and under those organic standards, Bovaer, the feed supplement used in the Arla trial, is not on the approved list. It cannot be used. Yeo Valley confirmed publicly that their organic products are Bovaer free. If the feed trial concerns you, and the lack of transparency around it is a legitimate reason for concern. Choosing organic is the clearest way to opt out of any uncertainty about what the cows were fed. Organic yogurt costs more, but what you're buying beyond the yogurt itself is a production standard with teeth. The broader picture here is this. The UK yogurt industry has spent years training shoppers to make decisions based on the front of the pot. Low fat, high protein, Greek style, natural, premium. These words have become shortcuts that people use instead of reading the actual ingredients. And the industry knows that. They've built entire product lines around those shortcuts, using packaging and language to trigger the associations while delivering something different behind the label. You now have a different kind of shortcut. 2 ingredients, milk and cultures. Protein above 10 grams for anything claiming Greek-style thickness. No modified starch, no separately listed cream used to fake consistency, no thickeners, no added sugars. Those 4 checks take about 15 seconds in the supermarket aisle, and they will tell you more than any claim on the front of any pot. The companies on the avoid list aren't all terrible businesses. Some of them make genuinely good products in other ranges, but the specific products we've walked through today are failing you, either through misleading labeling, through replacing quality with cheap engineering, or through using a health positioning to sell you something that doesn't deserve it. Every time you put one of those back on the shelf and pick up something real instead, you're not just making a better choice for yourself, you're contributing to the only feedback mechanism these companies actually listen to: what moves off the shelves and what doesn't. They will make what sells. You decide what sells. One last thing before you go. If this changed how you think about something you buy every week, there's one small action that costs you nothing and matters more than you'd expect. Leave a comment below. Tell us which brand you've been buying. Tell us which one surprised you most. Tell us what food category you think we should look at next. Those comments shape what we investigate, and they also show the people who land on this video later that the information here is worth paying attention to. Read the label. Trust the number on the back, not the words on the front. And know that real food, honest, simple, properly made, is out there. You just have to know where to look.